Hey, welcome to Hot Takes. I'm your host, James Scott, here to analyze anything and everything interesting. Let's dig into today's topics.
So this is Chris, and today's been a really exciting day, at least for James, because, James has gotten out there, started hitting up the baseball games and things like that, just to, he loves the games. He loves to check out what's going on. And I think what the most important aspect of him going to the games and checking them out is because I'm going to invent a word here right now. He's a datatician. So he loves talking about data. He loves crafting charts and things like that to see where people will fall in different divisional breakdowns. I mean, as you know, because you've all been listening to this podcast and everything. And the thing is, going to today's game really confirms some stuff for him. And James, if you want to take it from there, there's no better intro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still just like I'm in shock. You know, when you have that guy who's like had a near death experience in a movie, and the ambulance people are there. Ambulance people, they're there, okay, and they're talking to
People
him,
are
and,
there.
and people are there to help him, and you'd hope, right? And they're talking to him, and they're like, oh, he's just in shock. He'll be okay. He's just in shock right now. And that's kind of where I'm at. I had I won't say it's the best baseball experience I've ever had in my entire life, but it's right up there. I've been at a game where my team won the World Series, so I can't ever say like a spring training game was the best baseball experience I've had in my life. And I've been to games where it was like the year before, like a team broke a multi-year curse, the Cubs in this case. They were facing their World Series opponent in spring training. And I was there the game where I believe it was Schwarber, Baez, and Bryant. They hit home runs back to back to back against Cleveland, who eventually they would face in the World Series. So, I've been to some really great games. I've been to games that went on very late. I've been to games that were just like ridiculously high scoring games. I've been to games that were like shutouts. I've been to all sorts of different types of games. Never been to a no hitter, okay, or a perfect game. But almost every other type of game, I've seen cycles. I've seen a game where one guy got 2 grand slams, like in the same game. I've seen wild stuff. I've seen a lot, but today's game was one of the most exciting, fun games that I've ever, like, it had everything. It had everything that I would want in a ball game. It had the starting 9 of a team that's going to win their division. It had a Cy Young Award winner from the previous year. It had 2 very competitive teams that are going to be in the playoffs, or at least borderline playoffs for one of them. It had home runs that went through clouds, as Billy Crystal, I believe, said about one of Mantle's home runs. You think about it, obviously didn't go through clouds, but the thing was so hard hit, so went so far, like it was rising as it went over the batter's eye. And then I just lost track of it. Like I even when I saw the highlights of the thing, the ball just disappeared. And I gotta say, like, I don't think I've ever seen a ball hit as far. I'm being completely honest. I read an article actually while I was at the game that was made about how far the ball was hit. Like they wrote the article during the game, and they said that it was 464 feet. None of that. This is why I have a problem with like Statcast, because Statcast is like, are they going to measure the humidity on the day? Because if it's really clear, today was very clear, the ball's just going to sail. It's not going to drop at all. It's going to keep going. So maybe in a normal, humidity level environment, it goes 460 whatever feet. That ball went, there's no doubt in my mind that that ball went over 480 feet, probably about 490 feet, might have even have gone 500 feet. Everybody at the stadium was saying the same thing. The ball was rising as it went over the 30-foot fence in center field that sits 412 feet away from home plate. Like, I'm sorry, if it's rising, it's not like, oh, it's going to go over it and then arc all the way back the 30 feet that is above the fence. So that would be then 440. And then, oh, just 20 feet further than that. No way. No way. It's impossible. It's like when Stanton hit that ball that hit the roof of Dodger Stadium and bounced out. And they said, oh, that's just 475 feet. No. Like, this is why I have a problem with StatCast. I mean, they're clearly not weighing everything that you'd need to weigh into it. Like, Stanton hit a home run in the home run derby in Minnesota a few years ago that almost went out of that ballpark. And the important thing to remember is that that ballpark's like normal size to center field, sure, right? But then, similar to Toronto's Rogers Center, the decks are built on top of each other, and there's like 5 decks. And that's even beyond the center field fence. So it's not like, oh, beyond the center field fence, you can see the city. No, it's just decks on decks on decks. And he hit it to the top of one of the decks about, like, I'll say 6 rows and then a fence from clearing it. And they measured it at like 471 feet or something like that. And I'm just like, are they just drawing a line between like when it hits something and the bat? Or like what are they, they're not measuring. It's just, that's how they're going to do it. Just, oh, between it hits something and the bat. Like, even then, it doesn't really make sense for a lot of these balls that are just continually going. Like, they're clearly leaving something important out, because it's now been a few years where I've seen a ball and I've been like, whoa, that's like, clearly this many feet and it's 50 feet short. Like, at this point, I don't really trust that side of StatCast. Now, if you're telling me how hard he's hitting it, right, and I can compare it to the next person on average, right, then that's useful information. But on how far the farthest hit ball a singular player will go, I don't think they calculate distance well. I just don't think it's something they do well. I mean, you'll see guys like Didi Gregorius who don't hit the ball hard at all, but because they're regularly hitting it at the perfect angles, they're always getting homers, always 25 plus homers per year over a full season. So and StatCast doesn't think he'll ever do well, and then he always does well every single year after year. So I don't think they're calculating that right. I think there's something they're leaving out there, and I think it's pretty crucial. And I think like it hurts a lot of guys, because we're in an era where guys are hitting home runs farther than ever and harder than ever. And if they were actually calculating the distances right, and we're seeing, people hitting 530-foot home runs, like I think some of them are, like I think Stanton's home run that went almost out of target field, there's no way that wasn't like plus 500 plus, like clearly 500 plus. The one I saw today was either like 505 or it was like 490. Like the lowest I could imagine it being would be like 488, 489. There's no way it was 464. No, sorry, not happening. Like I've seen Jock Peterson in the Diamondbacks ballpark hit one that went 477 feet. And like that looked like it went 477 feet, right? But again, like there's stands beyond, normal stands, not like a wall of stands, normal stands beyond. And if you don't have a parking lot beyond, instead, it's like the Angels have a parking lot behind their ballpark. So the guy I saw like today who hit a ball into the stratosphere was Shohei Ohtani. So this is a long, long road to explaining that. And it's the second time this spring he's done that, hit a ball well over the batter's eye in center field. He's running like he hit a ball to the shortstop today, okay? Ground ball in front of the shortstop, and he beat it out as a single. Like he's got ridiculous speed. He's throwing 100 miles an hour from the left side in spring training. Nobody throws 100 from the left side unless you're like a reliever or something. Like that just doesn't happen. One of the most talented players I've ever seen. If he's healthy this year, he's going to do incredible things. So that's the first thing I saw today that was just mind blowing, was Ohtani hitting a ball farther than I've almost seen, if not seen any ball hit in person. And I've been watching ball game. Like when I was growing up, I'd go to from 20 to 40 games a season in Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium / Citi Field. And that was from, I'm going to say about 2003 straight through about 2010, 2011. So I've seen a lot of games growing up. And I don't think I've ever seen a ball hit that far in person. Like maybe one in the old Yankee Stadium way back in the day that went in the upper deck. But I mean, like, I don't even remember who hit it. It was some guy. I was a kid, but this is Shohei Ohtani hitting one after he hit one equal distance a few days ago. I'm just glad I was there. So that's the first thing I want to note. We saw Jose Iglesias, new addition for the Angels, make a jumping catch where he had to go over his head, maximum height, and just snare a liner. It was beautiful. And I gotta say, like, he's looking mid-season form, both at the plate and in the field. He got a single. So I got to see great defense at third. I got to see Trout play, not just hit. He got a single. I believe he drove in a run. But he also made a great running catch in the outfield where he looked just like Mantle, where Mantle's running so fast that he doesn't really have to dive. He just kind of gets there and just slows up because he's strong, And he's just able to, even though he's off balance, he's so strong in the legs that he can just slow himself up without having to dive. It was straight out of Mantle's playbook, make this amazing catch. So I got to see Ohtani. I got to see Trout. Trout, probably the best player of all time. I say probably because, like, there's no reason to think that he won't, like, do what he's been doing for, like, the next, I'm going to say, 6 years, 7 years. And if he just does anything like he's done for those years, you're looking at easily the best player of all time. Like, easily. There's no reason to think he's not going to do that. I mean, we said something similar about Ken Griffey Jr. But I have a lot more belief in Trout being this, like, in every way. I mean, he's been better than Ken Griffey Jr. so far. So I got to see the God play, like the Thor of the baseball world, the God of thunder, that's honestly what people should start calling him. People should start calling Trout Thor. Like, it works. The guy's biceps are like as big as my, like, midsection. He's massive. He's like a Greek god, Hercules. But I got to see Pujols play. He's a future Hall of Famer. That was nice. He even hit a double. Oh my God, it was hilarious because for him to hit a double, right? It either has to be like a clear double where it was just crushed. He hit one right down the line that he had to hustle out because the left fielder was running for it. And, you're looking at this guy who's like in his mid 40s and he's just trying to get to second. And, it was good to see that, like, he's still playing, I remember his rookie year in 2001. Oh my God. I was a kid in 2001. Chris, you were a kid in 2001 and he's still playing. He's going to retire, I think, after this season though. So, good for him. I think that he's had an incredible career, and even if he's 2 years older than he's listed as, I don't care. He's a great player. I don't care. Black Panther voice. I'm gonna keep using that reference. It's a great reference. I'll tell you. Every time I say I don't care, I hear it in the back of my mind. Where, like, it's that Civil War with Captain America.
Yeah.
And like I think someone introduces themselves. I don't think it's Ant-Man. He introduces himself to Black Panther, and Black Panther's like, I don't care. He's like, hey, I'm Ant-Man. He's like, I don't care. It's great because he's caught up in, like, avenging his father, and he still doesn't realize that, like, anger's not the way. He learns that from seeing Iron Man and Captain America go at it at the end of the movie, which is a great lesson.
And poor Ant-Man,
But
always fanboying.
yeah, they're always
Just
yeah. He's like, hey, I'm Ant-Man. I don't care.
so he's always getting the short end of the stick in like every
Oh,
movie.
it's a great saying too. Just you just bring out the accent. Wakanda forever. I'm probably doing it wrong. What is it? This side or is it this side? I don't know.
I don't
I even
remember.
when I do air guitar, I get it from the wrong side. So don't listen to me with that stuff. But anyway, Fletcher and Iglesias looked like they'd been working for years together up the middle. Ahmed Rosario, I believe they tried him in center field. I think that was him today for the Indians. He made like 3 errors, dropped 2 balls that were like fly balls, and the people on the bases just ran. So that's another thing. Like you don't usually see that happen where there's multiple outfield errors, 1 on a throwing error, 2 on like not being able to catch it, and then the runners on the bases just keep going. Like that's an exciting play. Like there was diving catches. This game had almost everything, if not everything, that you could want out of a baseball game. And like Shane Bieber, the guy who's the Cy Young of last year, he got lit up by this Angels offense. Again, everything scrambled. Such a great game. It's just, and then the best part happened, and I'm not even like, I need a moment because this is what really like topped off the entire game. Okay, so the first thing is, at the at the beginning of the game, they were batting in so many runs that by like the 5th inning, Trout had as many at bats as he'd need. Spring training, Upton, same deal. Rendon, same deal. Pujols, same deal. Ohtani, same deal. But they didn't, take them all off the field at once. Ohtani came off first, probably because, he was the star of the day, if you will. And then after Ohtani did, look, when Ohtani came off the field, when he came out of the dugout and everybody realized he was being taken out of the game, everybody who had a seat by the dugout, they went nuts. But for whatever reason, the people in my section, they didn't really make a lot of noise. So I saw this as kind of an opportunity. When he ended up walking by, I was like, way to go, kid. You hit that one to the moon or something like that. I know I said, way to go, kid, something. And he looks over, waves at me, looks me in the eye and smiles. And I'm just like, whoa, Shohei Ohtani and me just had like a moment. But that was right after he hit like the farthest home run that I've ever seen. One of the most talented players in the sport. I thought that was really cool. I shouted him out and he acknowledged me. Now, it wasn't just me who he waved to. He was waving to the crowd, right? But when I said what I said, he looked at me, smiled, and changed from just waving like this to waving like this, like right at me. So that, it could have been because my girlfriend is Asian and she was right next to me and maybe he's trying to flirt with my girl. Who knows, but no, it was a moment. It was a moment. And I was like, wow, okay. After he just did what he did, that he kind of, okay, that's cool. I was just going to sit with that. That was a cool moment. That was cool. So a couple innings later, they're taking a couple of the other guys off the field, right? And it's Upton and it's Trout, and they're walking together and talking to each other, right? And they're right there. I'm in the 4th row. They're right there, okay? And I have my opinion about the Angels this year. So I was like, you know what? This is the best time to say it. And I was like, you guys are going to win the division. You got the division on lock, and I'm moving my hands like this, I'm a New Yorker through and through. And Upton hears me, sees me. He turns his head, so I presume he sees me. He has his sunglasses on that he uses in the outfield. Trout has him on his helmet, so I can see that he sees me too.
Mm-hmm.
But Trout, he's caught up in talking to Upton, and he's very dignified, and he's not gonna, be like, damn straight, he's gonna be like, we're gonna compete for the division. That's very much Trout, humble. But Upton goes, yeah, because I'm already moving my hands like this. I'm the only one in my area who's like whooping these guys up. I don't know why. And Upton, he acknowledges me, looks right over at me, presuming. And same arm motion when I say what I say about them winning the division. Points right at us. Like literally points right at us. So now 2 interactions with elite ball players. And in addition to them being interactions with elite ball players, they were dope interactions with elite ball players. And Trout looked at me. Yeah. Now that's like that, all of that. That's one of the best days that I can remember ever having at a ballpark. And it confirms a few things. Angels are definitely winning their division. It confirms Ohtani's for real at hitting, for sure. Because if he can beat out ground balls that are just hit to the shortstop in the infield, just normal ground balls, just because he's that fast, then like he's going to easily be a guy who can hit doubles, easily be a guy who can hit triples. Like he's going to maximize anything that's in play. He's a lefty. He's going to hit righties at minimum. Righties are the majority of pitchers out there. And with a runner on third, just to kind of finish up a rally, like he was capable of, like I actively saw him from how he was in like his first at bat to how he was in that bat where he crushed the monster home run. He actively slowed things down. Like he was moving his leg. He was kind of trying to time things. He was trying to do. When he hit the ball that far, he barely moved. Everything was quiet. So he's clearly capable of slowing the game down at the plate. And that's a very important skill if you want to be an elite hitter at the big leagues. So if you can run, if you can hit, if you can pitch 100 miles an hour from the left side, which nobody does. And you're putting him quite literally right there in the middle of the, you know who bats right after him? It's Ohtani, it's Trout, it's Rendon. They're putting 2 middle of the order hitters right after him. Like how can he not be considered a superstar this year? He's an ace pitcher for them, throwing 100 miles an hour from the left side. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know. I think the whole league should be on alert for this guy. And like, when you hear that Dylan Bundy was announced as like the Angels ace, like that he's going to be their opening day starter, think of that as more of a compliment to Bundy than like some sort of like rip on Ohtani. You know what I mean? And God, this stuff's good. Hold on. So anyway, one of the best games that I have ever seen in my entire life, by far. And I don't know. I'm blown away. I'm in a state of shock about how good it was. Dexter Fowler played, Fletcher played, Iglesias played, Rendon played, Pujols played, Kurt Suzuki played, Trout, Upton, Griffin Canning was the pitcher entering the game. Who else was playing? Oh yeah, Shane Bieber played. Bobby Bradley played. There was a couple of other guys. I almost got an acknowledgement from Fletcher. I think I said hi to him a little bit too late for that to happen. But That would have been pretty cool. That would have been pretty dope. But honestly, one of the best games that I've been to in years. It had everything that I could want in a ball game. So I don't know, Chris. I ain't got much left to say, you know?
It sounds like it was a great day, and it's just awesome when you sit around. I just picture, because I mean we talk a lot. We're always texting, and obviously we're always meeting for these podcasts and stuff like that and everything. And it's so great to hear you talk about like the analytics and the data that goes into tracking these players and like how well they're doing and how well they're gonna do. And then, hearing you take a trip down to the ball game and, seeing it in action and just kind of like confirming that like the way that you're analyzing this data and the way that you're seeing it's on point, and it just brings this higher level of accuracy to what we're doing here on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like,
live stream.
I think like my last thing that I want to say is that like this team did this against Shane Bieber. Okay. Like if they can do it against Shane Bieber, if they can put up 9 runs in 3 innings against Shane Bieber, they can hit anyone. Like this is very clearly a better, like massively better offense than the Astros. Like it's not a question who's going to win the division anymore to me. The only thing that could stop it is if like Bundy and Ohtani both get hurt. And even then, the offense is a huge advantage. The position player squad is a huge advantage. So that's it. That's all I got to say. Definitely go check out that Ohtani home run. If you can figure out like where it landed, or even better, if you can figure out
you can go find the ball.
Yeah, if you can go find the ball for me and figure out where it landed, someone out there has, a science mathematics degree to the point of like, I can calculate the aerial and all that, like, look, I work on player evaluation. I work on growth trajectories and individual adjustments and all of those types of things. I'm not an astrophysicist. So if we have any astrophysicists, please take care of that. And if we don't, anyone who actually is not an astrophysicist, but is a great baseball mind, or even just someone who wants to go in and give me some sort of reason why StatCast gets the distances wrong, I definitely want to hear it from you guys in the comments, because I want to know why personally, because there's no way in the world that ball went 164 feet. It's impossible. And like, I'll fight people on this, like on a personal level. So yeah.
Allegedly. Well, everyone, just be sure, hit that subscribe button, listen on all platforms for this podcast. I mean, you already know you're listening, and be sure, I've been tagging our YouTube in the description of every episode. Make sure you head on over to the YouTube, you hit that subscribe version. If you like, you can catch the vodcast version of these podcasts over on YouTube, as well as the live streams.
Yeah, and in addition to that, I also do a lot of work with Baseball Guy Sean. Check out his channel. It's fantastic stuff. And with that, hope to see you next time.